Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Games Done Quick Hotfix. Tonight, we are doing a very special episode. We are going to be showcasing some of the top runners from the current MoistCr1tikal speedrunning challenge, $10,000 challenge. All of these are in very good competition for that first place spot. All in the top 10 right now, all very solid competitors. With me, I have Kronos on commentary. We'll be, going over the commentary and talking about it. And we have four runners here. We've got Zem, we've got Unity, we've got We Super, and we've got Bob Toad. How are y'all doing tonight?
Hello.
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 So I know.
I guess.
Go ahead, Kronos. You got it.
Yeah, I guess everyone could probably get started with their attempts if they want to. Basically, we're just going to have everyone play for the next 2.5 hours or so, and see if we can get a world record broken today. So if you guys are ready, you can go ahead and start.
Yeah. I actually did want to ask, am I cool to deafen?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll see you guys on the other side.
Hello, brother.
But yeah, as Church said, all four of these runners are really top-tier contenders for the event. All of them have held the world record at some point within the competition, which is pretty insane. And yeah, there's been hundreds of hours invested from like all of them for the game. And hopefully we can see some cool gameplay.
If you're lucky.
Not sure. Not sure what else to say. A lot of this is going to be the very start, which you can see here. We're on the boat, trying to kill some of the pirates here. Basically, it's a pretty rough sequence. You have to like attack the pirates with a jumping attack because that's the fastest way to kill them. And they can just randomly move in certain directions that you don't want them to. And that could probably cause the run to die, and you just have to restart all over.
Worth noting, the record is getting so optimized that one miss or getting hit by the pirates, which slows you down, is pretty much tipped. You might as well restart.
Yep. And as you can see, people slowly making their way through runs. Guess we can just talk about Zem's run, or not Zem's, Bob Toad's run, since he's currently furthest along. You can see him make the jump to, I guess the main part of the land there, goes into the shop, and we're going to focus on buying 2 feathers, and those are going to be used to fast travel within the game, since you're required to use the feather to teleport, basically, or fly over. It's a pretty interesting mechanic. And yeah, it's a very unique game. This is an Elder Scrolls game, by the way, and it is a very unique one since I don't believe any other Elder Scrolls game has you played as a predefined character and entirely in third person.
That's accurate. I don't think any of the other ones.
Magnificent.
Yes, it seems like both Bob Toad and We Super are on solid pace, having green splits. Once again, if you're not familiar with speedrunning, you want to kind of see green splits on your times, because that means that you are ahead of your PB, or your personal best, in terms of pace. So you can see both runners are about a second ahead. Oh, and unfortunately for Bob Toad, he missed the jump there. And same with We Super.
Off to a good start. I faced the bridge.
Yeah, the bridges here are pretty difficult. For people that don't know, this game does have a lot of input delay. So even though it might look like they just missed a jump randomly because they jumped early or late, like seemingly, it's also a factor that just input delay exists, and a lot of other factors that are pretty difficult to take into account. And yeah, we can see Zem is on a run. His splits are +0, so he's basically on just a standard run of his pace. But that is a world record pace there, so let's see how things go. It's like he saved a second there as well. And yeah, you'll also notice that the timer is paused during some of these cutscenes. That's because we've realized that the cutscenes do tend to have some sort of element of RNG in the run. So by removing the cutscene times and adding them back in, it makes it normalized so every runner is even and creates a more balanced play field for everyone. And yeah, so you'll see Zem here make his way through Graveyard. You'll see him trigger the skeleton cutscene. And yeah, just continue making his way through. And he's going to come up to the first big trick of the run, which is a gate skip. So he's going to make his way jumping while moving forward is the fastest way to move within the game. So you'll see him start to get ready by pulling out his sword just as he reaches the gate, and he's going to try to phase through it by jumping straight through. It's a very weird mechanic within the game. You just pull out your sword and then jump, and then when you sheath it, basically you just warp through to the other side. And that only works if you have the correct position for it. So now he's going to go for a pretty difficult jump here. He gets it. And then he's going to trigger this cutscene. Another snail cutscene that you just have to wait around 20-30 seconds for to walk over. Pretty fun. And yeah, he's just going to get this amulet, which is required for the rest of the game, or to progress the main quest. So he'll talk through all of this dialogue. And then he's going to jump back to the other side. And then he's going to come up to the next trick, as long as things go smoothly. So he's going to come up to this hill, and there's a small gap, or not really a gap, but a section of the slope there, where if you unsheath your sword and do something called a sword glide, I believe. I'm not sure what the exact terminology is, but it allows you to phase through the wall because of the weird animation that the game puts you in. So by doing that, he's able to skip past through, and he grabs a strength potion on the way back to help speed up the final fight of the game. Now he's going to have to pay the boatman again. Well, he's losing a lot of time to that animation. That's pretty unfortunate. Since ooh. See what the time comes out to be after that. Looks like a +0 again, so still on pace. And now he's going to have to do all the tricky bridges again. Seems like everyone else is still stuck at the pirates. It is a very, very rough section. Probably one of the hardest sections in the game is just the very start, just getting a good run in, because the pirates have some very weird and annoying RNG associated with them. they can just do whatever they want. Yeah, and as you can see, the bridge jumping and the pathing is very well optimized after the past 2 weeks or so of the run, or the challenge being out. Oh, that's a very unfortunate jump. So there goes Zem's run. Yeah, these jumps are pretty tricky because you want to optimize your jumps to perfection for this kind of run and challenge. In order to get world record, you need to make all the risky plays. You need to be able to do all of the stuff that's necessary in order to get the time you want to get. But yeah, that was a good pace we had there. Hopefully we'll see more of those. And I mean, it's still very early on. We've only been going for like, 10 minutes or so. And yeah, the fact that we've already had a run at least halfway through that was record pace is pretty solid. Okay. Don't know if it's on my end, but I can't see Bob Toad's feed on my screen. Okay, looks fine now. Okay, yeah, so Bob Toad's on a run, making his way through the bridges. Hopefully that'll go well. Seems like MoistCr1tikal has also gotten past the pirates as well. Oh, Bob Toad saved his run with a quick jump there. That's going to lose a little bit of time, but that should still be fine. And yeah, it is a really rough game. Just any small mistake, like one mistake, you're out. That's how world records go.
Yeah, especially in something that's this like optimized.
Yeah. I suppose something that we should keep into account is not only have they've had hundreds of hours, you can see by their attempt counters as well just how many attempts of their runs they've put in. In fact, like in the thousands is insane for the number of weeks, like just 13 days of runs. Absolutely insane.
About to hit
I believe
3,000.
I also have like total attempt counters of like completed attempts, and they're still in like the 20s or something. This game is really rough. Okay. It looks like we have all our runners out of the Pirates sequence now. So let's see where their runs take them. MoistCr1tikal looks like they're on a good pace. Just needs to land some of these tricky jumps. The bridge sequence, honestly, is also really difficult just because of the input delay that can happen. And sometimes, like, the jump just doesn't work for a random reason. And that's pretty annoying when that happens. Yeah, MoistCr1tikal on his way to the island now. I'm pretty close behind. His run isn't looking as good, though. Also, I was just informed that Zem is comparing against his latest run splits. So he's comparing against an 11:25 which is 5 seconds worse than world record, so just keep that in mind, but still it's a really solid time to compare against.
Magnificent.
And yeah, looks like everyone's just on their runs now. Yeah, so we super should be approaching the gate clip right now, so hopefully that goes well. Most of the clips generally are a bit easier compared to the other aspects of the game. At least that's from what I've tried and practiced. Clips and stuff seem a bit easier. Hopefully we get a run to the end sequence, because I believe the ending sequence is one of the toughest parts of the game. There's a lot of nuance to them. We super gets the gate clip very cleanly. Oh, it dives in the water there because the geometry of the map doesn't quite fit in as you would think in some areas. So that can happen. Well, that lost a little bit of time, but yeah. Both we super and Zem are at the amulet part.
Go.
Both we super and Zem are at the amulet part. Pretty standard stuff for now. Probably something that I would recommend just as a runner, or if you're trying to get into running for speedruns, I would recommend doing no resets or just playing out the run sometimes, just to get more of a feel for it on occasion. Like, it's good to practice the late game, especially on these kinds of runs. So when you get a good run going the next time, you'll be prepared for it rather than not practiced. And that can help quite a lot. I believe all of these runners as well have practiced a lot of individual segments of runs. So if you want to practice stuff like the end sequence, you have a save file set up, and that's pretty important to getting good at speedrunning. So you'll often see runners just practice a specific clip or a specific trick in the run just to make sure they're able to get that done. Yeah, it looks like we super and Zem not on the best runs right now. Seems like they're trying to just get a run in at least for practice. Good habit to have, especially in high pressure scenarios, just like calming yourself down by doing no resets is a good way to do it. And who knows, you might just pull off the most insane endgame split and you just randomly get a world record. That can also happen. Yeah, from what I've heard as well, seems like Bob Toad's internet has disconnected, so hopefully he'll be back temporarily. But yeah, I guess I could go over some of the stuff about these runners. Currently on the screen we have Zem, on the top left, he is the current world record holder at a time of 11 minutes and 20 seconds. Very close to the 11 minute and 19 seconds, or the 1x time, which is kind of the goal that he's setting for himself. He's known mostly for Ratchet and Clank speedrunning, so if you're familiar with that game, he's ran that game quite a lot in the past. He also informed me that he would like to say that he is a League of Legends Diamond 1 player, so keep that in mind.
On the cusp of Masters, too.
Yes, cusp of Masters. He'll get there soon. Then we also have Unity at the bottom left. He is currently in second place with a time of 11 minutes and 22 seconds. So 2 seconds off first place. And he was the winner of the previous MoistCr1tikal challenge, Exodus from the Earth. And he's mostly known for Portal 2 speedrunning and a lot of Half-Life shenanigans with source bunny hopping. He's one of the best bunny hoppers out there, if you're familiar with that. Basically, like, one of the best movement players out there. Then we have MoistCr1tikal, who is on the top right. He's in 4th place currently with a time of 11:34. Or is it? No, I have that wrong. It should be an 11:28, or 5th place with an 11:28. And he is mostly known for a lot of his LEGO speedrun games. In fact, he was featured in one of Summoning Salt's LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga World Record progression video, which is pretty insane. So I would recommend checking that out if you're interested in it. And yeah, MoistCr1tikal has been running quite the myriad of games. Just so many games. I believe, like, basically every LEGO game out there. And then just, like, a bunch of random ones as well. And then finally we have Obtoad, who's at the bottom right of the screen, currently getting his internet back set up, hopefully. Currently in 8th place. Is that right? Hopefully I have these values correct.
Bump up in the bottom.
Yes. Yes. 8th place. I believe there's like 3 runners that are 1 second ahead of him. So basically 5th place almost. Who got 3rd place in the AMOC Runner MoistCr1tikal challenge, which was the first one. And has done a lot of other speedruns, including Portal, Inbounds, and Super Mario 64. So, pretty cool. Everyone here is a pretty accomplished speedrunner.
So I see somebody in chat asking, the MoistCr1tikal challenge. MoistCr1tikal is a content creator and a streamer, and he has placed a $10,000 bounty on this game. So whoever is in first place at the end of 2 weeks gets 6K, whoever is in second place gets 2.5K, and third place gets 1.5. And then I believe there's also an additional 1,000 to whoever contributes the most impactful trick or skip.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I missed it, but Zem is approaching the very end sequence of the game with the fight. So, see how that goes. His splits are very red here, so it is not a world record, but it's a good practice run overall. Looks like about a low 12-minute time. Probably just getting relaxed, making sure that he has everything down for his run. Yeah, seems pretty solid overall. 12-15, not too bad.
Yeah, even when you're going for that world record grind, sometimes you just gotta take the bad the run just to get that practice in for the end game. Just to, calm your nerves, make sure everything's going the way you want it to, at least in the end game.
Yeah, it looks like all our runners currently, I believe Unity and Wii Super right now are on pretty solid paces. Unity a tiny bit behind, but
One more.
unfortunate jump. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yep. Commentator's curse. But things happen.
No! But it
Yep, everyone's at this very start once again.
This game is cruel.
Yes, it is.
you little. No! No! No!
Don't know what else I could talk about. Maybe I can answer some questions anyone has, maybe in chat, or just commentate in general, just random things that people want to hear or talk about. So yeah, feel free to just ask around. I have Twitch chat open if people have any questions or comments or anything. Also, for people wondering about myself, I am Kronos, and I have been helping MoistCr1tikal with all of these challenge events for the past few so far. And I will be continuing to do so as long as he's interested in them. So hopefully everyone enjoys this kind of content.
I think this is a really cool thing Moist is doing, Charlie is doing for the community. So I'm excited and hopeful that it keeps going.
Do runners have a cutoff time for this event? Yes. In fact, today, if you're in the Eastern time zone, is the last day you have for runs. And the time ends at 12 a.m. or Eastern time. So hopefully, if that gets converted to your time zone, there is a Discord for all of this as well. There's a MoistCr1tikal challenge Discord. You can also find it, I believe, on YouTube. If you just look up MoistCr1tikal challenge, you could probably find one of those things.
I can drop a link in the Discord in just a second.
Yep.
Mag-
Do you have any idea why Charlie chose this game? So, in general, the goal for the MoistCr1tikal challenges are to pick something that no one has played before and just basically create a game like speedrun with insane tricks and all of that sort of thing from scratch. Basically seeing the progression from a game that has been played normally or something, and then see how fast it can be beaten with tricks and glitches that people discover. And I believe a big part of it is that Charlie, or MoistCr1tikal, really enjoys seeing all these weird, wacky glitches. And yeah, that's the big fun part for him. That's why he really enjoyed the AMOC Runner Challenge with just the insane, I believe, launches, car launches, truck launches, shenanigans like that. But yeah, in terms of just this game in particular, I believe like it's mainly Charlie and I that were looking into games that fit the criteria, and I found this game since I'm also an Elder Scrolls speedrunner, and I just realized that this was potentially an option, so I brought it up. So I'm sorry for all the runners' pain here, but this is kind of my fault for why this was chosen.
Just wanted to undeafen him for a second and say we'll have some very choice words with you later, Chris.
Yeah, don't worry. Well, hopefully next time it'll be better.
Hey, you'll have to run this too, dude.
Because, yes, I'll probably.
You will pay.
So, yeah.
All right, I actually am going to hang out for a little bit because it's a little lonely just listening to music and watching Twitch streams on my own.
Yeah. Let's see. Yes, the runners are just doing back-to-back runs until the estimate is up, which is 2 hours and 30 minutes. So you'll have a lot of time, I believe another 2 hours to enjoy watching these speedruns. Hopefully we'll have some runs make it through, get potentially a world record.
Can
you? Yeah.
I just wanted to interject real quick and ask how much you've explained about the bridges yet.
I haven't explained too much, but yeah, it does suck. The jumps suck because there's a lot of input delay. There's a lot of randomness to them. Sometimes your jumps just don't jump for any reason whatsoever. Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, I want to like add that something to note about the bridges and the way that you have to jump. There's a lot of spots you have to be very aware of when it comes to how you're jumping, when you're jumping, and what angle you're jumping at. Like, as an example, there's one particular spot on, like, I want to say it's like maybe the 4th bridge on the way to the skeleton island, that like if you try to jump in a straight line, it'll always devour your jump input and you just won't get any distance. And so it's better to do like a slight angle. However, if you do a slight angle in a different spot on the same bridge, it'll also eat your jump. And so like you have to be very aware of where you are on the bridge at all times, pretty much.
Yeah, basically overall, it is like very precise. Like all these jumps are very well calculated. It's not like, yeah, just jump here, like, pretty freely. It's a lot more calculated than you think, and you need to just be ready for everything, especially with the input delay and everything. It's pretty rough. And yeah, we have Bob Toad back in as well, so yay. Let's go.
Magnificent.
Yeah, aren't ISPs just the best?
Okay, there was a question on DOSBox and the cycles. So this game, Redguard, runs on DOSBox, which is a emulator for old DOS games, or like very old PC games, basically. And I believe there's a couple games that run with this emulator. Like notable ones include Arena and Daggerfall for Elder Scrolls games in particular. And something unique about DOSBox is the game is ran on cycles, which basically tells you how fast the CPU for the emulator will run. And the higher the cycle count, the more power you have for the CPU. We've limited the game to 150,000 cycles in order to balance the playfield, because many PCs will have different results running on different cycle counts. So in order to make sure everyone has a fair experience, we set it to 150,000 cycles instead of a higher or lower number. And unfortunately, it probably isn't the best feeling, but it is the most fair way to do everything.
Which
So
is one thing I... Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you first, Church.
I was just gonna say that's one thing I like about these challenges is that all of the admin team works really hard to try and make this a level playing field, so that like somebody doesn't just have like a top end computer and just crush everybody else because of it.
Yeah, that was a nightmare for the past challenges.
During Exodus, there was actually a runner whose PC was too good to run the game. There's a trick which you use saving to lower your FPS. We put it on the scroll wheel so you can save like very rapidly. His PC could not get low enough FPS because it was too good, so he couldn't do a very vital skip in the run. So the rules ended up changing to allow that to work.
Yeah, it is very, very rough to make an even play field for like a lot of games, especially the games that so far we've been choosing for the challenges. It seems like there's no even play field way kind of thing, but we just try to make it as fair as possible. And it is rough.
So, as somebody who doesn't really know a whole lot about computers, what would be like a standard cycle set for like a game like this?
So it really depends on your hardware. So I believe most people, like on modern PCs, should probably be able to run this game on higher cycles than 150,000. In hindsight, probably would have been a good idea to just disregard very low end, like extremely low end PCs, or I guess anything older than probably like 2015 or something. I don't know exactly, but yeah, as of right now, like 150,000 cycles might be a bit low. And that's probably a fault on my end for not checking enough pieces of hardware for cycle counts. There are a lot of differences, even with the smallest change of cycles, which is why it was such a difficult thing to balance. Just be glad, because originally, when I was talking to Solitan, who was the former world record holder, the very first runner of this game 4 years ago, we had a long discussion about cycle counts and what would be good or bad. And initially, we were going to choose 100k cycles.
Oh my God.
Because that was what his hardware ran on, I believe, was like very low cycle counts. Because he didn't have the best PC at the time. I believe he had a laptop or something that he was running on. So it was like basically 100k cycles when he was running on the default settings, which is max cycles. So if you use max cycles on other PCs, it'll have very different results. I believe, in fact, you might end up running like double speed at certain settings, and that really is weird. I believe when I was testing and in development for just all the game settings and stuff, because this game was also a very big nightmare to set up. It took like a few days just to get the game working properly. Like, the game would run just randomly at 2 times speed if you have the incorrect settings. So, yeah, it's pretty weird.
So if you hook this up to like a supercomputer, could you run it at 18 trillion cycles?
So there's a weird thing about cycles is, even though the game runs faster, it's like not perfect in a way. In fact, something that's too high of a cycle count will start to slow down the game. So there's like a perfect balance of too good and too bad, which is why like we don't want to raise the cycle count too high. Because if you raise it to like around 200 to 250k, other PCs will struggle even worse than 150k cycles. And that's unfair. So that's why we had to limit it to the current value we have now. Basically, it's like a nightmare.
What about like?
But yeah,
What about hooking it up to like? I'm just trying to. I don't care about like the practicality. I just want the theoretics now. You know.
yeah. Theoretically, probably some weird shenanigans can go on. I'm not the best at DOSBox stuff, but I have worked a little bit with it because I've ran Arena and Daggerfall, and those games have a lot of shenanigans. But we set those at default cycle counts as well. But those defaults are like perfect and have basically no latency. It's just Redguard sucks.
We drew the short straw.
Yeah, so initially when I thought about like Redguard, and I was thinking more so, oh, it's probably going to be a lot more like Arena or Daggerfall, because those games came out before Redguard and they were pretty solid. Like Daggerfall actually plays really well for its time. But when you play Redguard, it's just another story. And I guess there's a reason why Redguard did not do well in sales.
Okay, I go back to Devon now. I'll be back later.
Yep. But yeah, looks like everyone is still making their way through runs here. It's like Zem is just on a standard looking run here. Probably just gonna reset. Not sure. Unity does a slightly different strat at the start of the bridges, if anyone hasn't noticed. He jumps into the water and onto the bridge, which I believe saves a tiny bit more time, but it is a lot more difficult to perform. Yeah. Because everyone's making their way through the struggle that is Redguard.
What?
Oh, that's didn't look right.
Let's not talk about it.
But yeah, I can keep answering questions in chat or anything. Just a bunch of shenanigans here. But yeah, this game was a nightmare to set up and get working because the default version of GOG doesn't work for like many people. Like for me, when I installed GOG or the GOG version of the game, it basically didn't work at all. You would play at like 1 frame per second or something. It was very, very bad. So that's why we created a patch file to fix things.
So we can run at 2 frames per second.
Yeah. Just slightly better.
Hey, that's double.
This game is also available on Steam, but you'll notice everyone's playing on the GOG version of the game. There's a lot of differences between the two versions. One uses the Glide FX wrapper, which is the GOG version, which is a lot better than the software version that Steam has. So yeah, basically that's why everyone's using GOG, because it runs a lot better.
Good. Hello.
But yeah, as you can see, a lot of these runners have been running for quite a long time, so it's understandable for breaks and stuff.
Yeah, I think most of us have been playing for all day today. Now we're going into the night.
Yeah, just feel free to take a break if you need. This is just pretty chill time, just watching people do runs and stuff.
Yeah, it is a little late. I apologize.
Yeah. I mean, especially now if you are in the US, the East Coast, it is like, what, 1:40
Magnificent.
in the morning?
Yep.
Currently, like, an hour past midnight almost for me. Yeah, it is pretty late for a lot of us here.
I definitely had to switch my sleep schedule to be awake right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And once again, make sure, like, to keep a healthy lifestyle. Like, I know a lot of people have been doing these challenges for a lot of hours, but health is very important. So even though you see a lot of these people with these long grind sessions, they probably do at least have some sort of break on occasion. Just to, you know, in fact, it's probably better to take breaks. In fact, taking breaks is one of the better ways to improve your mindset on things. I highly recommend it, especially if you're struggling to get that world record, that PB. Like, probably might be a good idea to take a break once in a while. Whether it's like a short break, like who knows, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes might help. Or maybe even just a day of break. For me, myself, I've taken like long, extensive breaks on stuff, like maybe a month or something, and then come back into the game later on and then just easily get a new world record just because you feel refreshed. And that can happen sometimes. In the nature of this challenge, though, yeah, it's a 2-week time span, so taking a break might feel bad, but sometimes it might help. Who knows?
A lot of pressure as you come to the end as well.
Yeah. So it looks like Bob Toad is on a run here. So just making his way back from the island. What is my PB in this game? I've played for 2 hours and got a 17-minute time. And then I just was messing around after that. But I do need to learn this game for potentially a GDQ incentive at SGDQ 2023, which, if you don't know, I am also running for that for the Elder Scrolls Anthology. Make sure to tune into my run there if you're interested in more Elder Scrolls games. How the sword fighting works? So the sword fighting is very, very intricate in this game. At the Pirates sequence, you'll see runners jump spam, or not quite spam. It's like a timed jump and attack in order to get the most optimal fast attack pattern that you can do. You'll see it also done at the final boss fight. And it is pretty intricate. You have to just jump, and as you're landing, you attack and then jump again, like in a very quick motion that's repeated. And yeah, it is really rough. Especially with how enemies act. You need to be directly facing them in order to hit them. So that's also a factor. And if they move around, you have to move around with them. It is pretty difficult. Yeah. And as we can see here, I guess we can commentate on Bob Toad's run. He is making his way to the palace. So he's delivering the amulet that he got from the island. And that's going to put him into the final sequence of the game. It's like he is on pace to PB, so hopefully we'll see one here. So there's this dialogue cutscene thing with Rickton, the final boss. And he's going to do a sword glide clip through the door. there's a small gap in the door which you can basically clip through. And he's going to go ahead and do that by lining himself directly at the center of that gap, and then doing the sword glide by pulling out his sword and holding a bunch of buttons at the same time. And he's going to clip through gate there, climb up the chain.
Well, unfortunately, I actually died. For some reason, my health isn't showing, and I forgot the bind that doesn't show it.
F8? I'll check for you.
It is, you're right, thank you. But
yeah, it's unfortunate. So Bobto died there, and basically what happened there was he clipped through the door to like wherever that fire is, and by doing that you take a bunch of damage, but it is faster than opening the door manually. So he tries to grab onto the chain, but if you die while grabbing onto the chain, you're still stuck in like a weird dead and alive state where you're just stuck holding onto the chain with 0 health. So yeah, it's pretty unfortunate for that to happen.
And another thing to note is that you want to get down to 10 health there for the next room so that you can die and then load a save that you make right there so that you can climb up steep slopes, which saves some time.
Yeah, that's pretty new, isn't it? Or fairly new?
Yeah, last few days I think it was discovered.
Yeah. Basically, dying has some weird mechanics in this game, so... Okay. Looks like we Super and Unity are on okay-ish runs. A bit red, but it's what happens sometimes. Can always save bad runs, but
I have a lot
they
of
just
save
feel bad sometimes. Yeah.
at the very end.
Yep.
So,
There's a lot of time save at the end for a lot of runs sometimes as well. Like, how much time do you have at the end of your run, Unity?
I have 10 seconds. I got slow.
10 seconds?
Slow dialogue here, so it's beyond dead.
I have 9 on the final split of my run too.
Oh.
No.
Yeah. you can see that even red splits in the middle of the run doesn't mean that your run is dead, because sometimes you might have that one split where you lost all the time, and that's the split that matters to get good.
So something to note also is when you interact with NPCs in this game and you speak to them, sometimes you get really fast dialogue, and that's because when your character is moving, so if they're walking during the cutscene, for whatever reason, you can like stand in a specific spot and it makes them walk towards the NPC. If your character's walking, it skips an animation of you like nodding your head, and that saves like an insane amount, like more than you would think. We use that on the
That's
shop
very
near the star
interesting.
and the little snail dude I just spoke to. And for Nagasta, that's that guy's name. It saves like actually 3 or 4 seconds. That's why
I really should take a look into that then,
Yeah.
because I didn't realize how much time the dialogue saves.
it's a lot. That's why I just went from
Yeah.
+4 to +10 because I got the slow dialogue.
Yeah.
I'm on deafening again because I actually tabbed into the runs for a second and I saw what happened, Bob, and I wanted to share my condolences.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the... I was supposed to... I think I would have gotten that if I saw my health, but I was just kind of guessing with the candle light. Oh well, though.
It's rough.
Dude,
Yep.
it's really hard to always pay attention to that stuff. There's a lot of moving parts on the... Like, on that whole sequence. Very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speedrunning is rough. When you're trying to go for world records, you have to just squeeze out every bit of the run that you can. So even the smallest things you need to pay attention to. And if you miss one thing, it's over sometimes. How it goes.
I was joking around with my chat earlier about this, but I do actually want to extend an open invitation to the three of you guys, as well as any other Redguard runners who may be here right now. I think we should all just have like a group therapy session after this is over. Where we all just like take turns talking about which reset hurt us the most.
And you had mentioned we are all
long session.
gonna uninstall the game
Yes.
same time
The group
in unison.
uninstallation.
I believe it's been a tradition for all the MoistCr1tikal challenges so far.
I'm actually really looking forward to that, though, I gotta say.
I think I still have a mock
You have no
installed.
Unfortunately, I will need to have mine installed.
Oh my god.
I feel like I've been tainted anyway after I've uninstalled. I'm still gonna have nightmares. Didn't change
All
my
the way
life.
till morning.
Mac.
Yeah, I wish there was a way to go back here in the elf's shop, like behind where he is. I'm positive that's where he keeps all the weird stuff. I want to see it.
Who knows? There might be just a random glitch that we find that saves like a minute, and then we'll extend the competition. Because I believe that's something that we have in place as well.
Yeah, we could also
So if there's
not
any
have
big
that
skip
happen.
that gets discovered,
Alternatively-
have a fun playing another week.
Alternatively, we could not do that. That's just an idea I just said.
That is also an option as well.
Please.
Yeah, can we bar the glitch hunters from like being able to use their hands for the next 24 hours?
Yeah. Collectively, everybody just needs to agree to not find any more glitches for 24
There he
hours.
is. Come on. Come on.
All right, I also want to ask the three of you guys while you're here, how are your like how are your backs holding up?
My bag's fine. My hand is killing me from mashing.
Yeah, my hand, particularly my
Oh, well.
ring finger, because I have a different control setup than everybody else. So most people press shift to spam through the text. I press Q. So the way I shake my ring finger on the Q key is like it's visibly red on like the joints.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, I already have this issue with rock climbing, but I did notice that because of all the mashing I was doing, the skin on the tips of my fingers has been completely torn off.
Oh my god. How hard are you
It's
mashing,
pretty
man?
brutal.
You got sandpaper keycaps?
I'm gonna be honest. As soon as I saw your input display, Unity, and saw how like fast you could mash, I was like, God damn it, I gotta keep up with that.
You know what the best part is? You know what the best part is? It loses time.
Mashing that fast?
Yes.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I only mashed like 5 per second.
So I spent the first like week and a bit mashing like unbelievably hard, and then realized I was losing like 4 seconds in the palace dialogue.
I did know that for Nagasta, and I knew that for Palace, but I didn't know that for Elf. Is it also true for Elf, where you just don't have
pretty
to do it that
much.
fast?
I think yeah, you can, but I find it easier to just mash.
Okay.
Because my hands get like confused between use and skip.
Oh yeah, wait. I actually I did want to also compare setups. I'm actually still using the Solitan setup with jump on up instead of shift,
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
or not shift, space. Yeah, I've been hitting it on up the whole time. It feels really weird, but I tried swapping to space when I saw everyone else doing it, and I was like, nope, this feels wrong now.
I've used on up error.
Yeah, everyone has different keybinds now, I think. It's pretty interesting to see.
I also accidentally
Because-
at some
yeah.
point, sorry, I accidentally made my mouse turn, and I can't remove it. So if I knock my mouse during a run, I'll turn left. And I have no idea how to get rid of it.
That is interesting.
So I have my mouse on like the other side of my desk right now, so I don't kill a run by like knocking it. Right.
Because from what I've heard, Redguard is not supposed to have mouse controls.
Oh no, it's whenever it detects like x-axis mouse movement, it turns me left. It doesn't matter whether I move my mouse right or left.
What?
it's really weird because it doesn't have mouse controls, but you can see your cursor on the screen.
Yeah.
So it just kind of mindlessly chills on the screen. Unless you click, then it goes away. But
Yeah, I found it really weird because both Arena and Daggerfall have had mouse controls. So why did Redguard just decide to ditch it?
There's a lot of questions I have about this game, man.
Yeah.
There is a way to open up DOSBox controls, and you can just delete the controls for all of any key. Someone has that in the challenge Discord somewhere.
Yeah, so maybe you could try checking it, Unity. If you do Control F1, it's probably somewhere there.
Oh, I think that might
in the
be
DOSBox settings.
I'll try it when this run does.
I say we find Todd Howard and make him answer.
we could do a little research.
No.
just have
So it looks like Bob Toad is on another run again.
Yeah, good luck, Bob.
Thank you.
We have a moment of silence for Solitan having to run this for 2 hours per attempt.
He really enjoyed the game, though. That's his. Like, yeah, it was the only game he speedran as well, so.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Soliton had a bunch of good stuff. He was a real big help for the challenge, just setting up everything as well. Big shout outs to him. He, like, even set up a website for just documenting everything that he found. He set up, like, so many things. It was really nice to see. Probably the biggest help for the challenge, along with the people that made the auto splitters, which are Sabuline, Horizon, and the Demented Salad. So rip. Same spot. Yep.
Distant problem.
I have no idea why it happens. It's so hard. When you just don't grab out?
Yeah, it's jumping in place. Really annoying.
I think it's the little, to the right of the chain, there's a little like block. Like you jump into that,
Oh.
but I don't know how to fix that.
Yeah, because it's not so easy to go to the back every time. It gets stuck kind of easily, you know?
Great consistency, though, man. Good to see you getting runs that far.
Yeah,
It's
maybe I'm just lucky.
all skill, man. No luck in this game.
And yeah, any questions in chat? Pretty sure I can answer them. Lots of fun things happening. As we wait for people to get on solid runs. I believe the part where we can say a run has started is basically past second bridge.
Oh, I'm dancing, man.
Yeah. Those animations just suck.
The game really wants you to be in a very specific spot, and if it's not, it'll try to move you there, but it can only move you by 1 step at a time. So if you're not in the right spot and you interact, say goodbye to about 5 seconds at least.
Yeah.
Up to 12 in some cases.
I've lost 17 to it
Oh, man.
on like the 3rd day. And sometimes the game will just give up and like you'll be in the water and it'll start paying. It'll just sail away without you on it. I've had that happen.
I'd actually be curious to see. I always, for the record, for anybody who doesn't already know, I call it the Cupid Shuffle because you go to the right, to the right, to the right, to the right, to the left, and the left, and left, and left.
Probably need to find something to use it with.
But yeah, I'd be curious to see your Cupid Shuffle versus the longest one that I've seen. Where I don't know exactly how much time it lost, but I know it was 16 steps.
Oh my lord.
That was by another Ratchet runner named Scott Bozo. He was
Honestly just impressive.
yeah. I told him like
You can't even be mad about it.
he archived that immediately. I think we should have like try to figure out what the the worst possible one you can get is.
Almost got a tacit.
I can just imagine one of like the 8 people who bought this game back in 1998, like that happened to them, and they're just so confused as to what their character is doing.
It starts happening, they go to bed, they wake up, still going.
They don't know how like truly blessed
Is this
they are.
normal?
I still think the funniest thing that can happen is that you can just get soft locked on that if you fall in the water.
Yep.
Okay, I do see a question on what is the MoistCr1tikal challenge. So, MoistCr1tikal is a pretty famous YouTuber
Maybe you heard of him.
/ Twitch streamer. And yeah, they put out a $10,000 bounty for speedruns. And this is the 3rd MoistCr1tikal challenge. And it's a $10,000 prize pool to the top 3 runners of the challenge. So that will be the 3 people that place with the fastest times for the game.
Go on.
And then there's also a $1,000 side bounty for whoever finds the biggest trick or glitch or skip in the game. So maybe I would like to hear your guys' thoughts on what should earn that or who should earn that, because I believe that there's been quite a few things that were discovered, even though the biggest skip was found by On Trigger in a way.
Yep.
Which is the big skip basically to the end, skipping all the main quests. But I believe Zach was also the one that discovered clipping to make that possible. And then Sabuline Horizon was the one that discovered the sword shenanigans that make it like viable. So I believe those 3 are the big candidates and potentially could just split the bounty between those 3. That would probably be a good idea.
Yeah, I didn't realize how
Yes.
divided the discoveries for that trick were.
Yeah. I probably might end up doing that if it comes down to it. So hopefully that it works out.
I can't use this by itself.
Unity, I just saw what happened.
Dude, I'm dancing again.
Yep.
Oh no.
Have we talked about the struggles with the strength potion
The
yet?
strength potion boss fight? Harder than the final boss, I swear.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a lot of just random things that can happen. Oh boy.
Are we all past the bridges? This is a miracle.
I'm plus 17, so
But still.
Everyone's not- yeah.
Listen, man, at this point, pace is a relative in this game. Sometimes we take what we can get around these parts.
yeah. Yeah, it is worth mentioning. The strength potion we get there doubles essentially doubles our damage, so it halves the amount of hits that the boss takes at the end of the game. Which, one hit can take like probably 1.5 seconds, so it saves a lot of time. But there's also 2 health potions next to the strength potion, and the game really, really doesn't want you to pick up that strength potion. So sometimes you'll try and pick it up, and it'll just completely ignore it and pick up a health potion, even though you were not looking towards any of them at all. And as you can see, that just lost me like 6 seconds at least, because moving in this game is very fluid and controllable.
Yeah. It's just everything in this game is just so
Everything's out to
inaccurate
get you.
what it looks.
Everything is out to get you, man.
Sorry, I think it's just the delirium of everything settling in, but I still can't get over the strength potion boss.
Yeah. The hardest part of the game, pressing E.
Yeah, it's just that little, like, you have to just move so specifically sometimes. And it's always the one run you never expect to pick up the health potion that, like, you just don't think about it for 2 seconds. Then all of a sudden you just lose 5 seconds for nothing.
Oh yeah, if you want even more context to how broken that specific section is, sometimes in the bottom left where it says pick up strength version, it says like pick up skeleton groan noise or something like that for like 1 frame.
Wait, really?
Because yes, someone posted in Discord. It's just like, what? How did that even happen?
Although, as far as skeleton groan noises are concerned, I don't think anything could ever possibly top what that one thing that happened to kiss him off that one time. For context, he was listening to the final countdown as he was grinding, and he went past the zombie that is like right outside the gate. And it was right as the singer went, "Oh," and the zombie screamed, "Oh," at the same time.
That sounds hilarious.
It's a legendary clip. It's honestly an instant classic.
Get a shout out to the subtitles in this game too. The zombie's going, "Ooh," our subtitles as, "Ooh." Wait, what?
I thought my game was bugging out when I first saw it because just a bunch of letter O's just appeared at the bottom of the screen. I thought, I don't know.
Oh wow. Oh well. I guess that run.
Yeah. That chain jump just sucks sometimes.
It's bad. Even casually, it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough playing this game like as a speedrun where we have everything like pretty well sorted out and routed. But even then, like, it's still so rough. So it's hard to imagine the long play version of this game.
That's what I was saying earlier. 2 hours, man. Zoltan is an actual soldier.
And the glitches that he found were not easy to perform either.
There's a clip in the first like underground area or after the prison. That's gonna be like an hour to do once.
Yeah.
There's nothing even slightly that hard in this run.
Yeah, this run was made a lot easier compared to the original. And even then, it's really rough.
I just remember the first day of the challenge. I didn't really know what I was getting into, so I put like maybe 4 or 5 hours into looking at the game, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I learned like the first like 20 minutes of the run. And then I was like, okay, that's enough. I'll just go to bed for now. Then I woke up, and then everyone was like, oh yeah, we skipped everything.
Yeah,
Like, oh,
it's
convenient.
I mean, it's very different from the other challenges so far, actually, in terms of just like random strats getting found and discovered. Because I believe like games like Amok Runner and Exodus, which were previously for the challenge runs, they had big tricks discovered within like the next week of the challenge. So this game hasn't had as big of a development since the first day in terms of just tricks. I think most of it was pretty much routed since the first week. And there hasn't been any like big game-breaking thing or anything since then.
Yeah, really the only major change has been like the meta shift to res route.
Mhm.
Kind of it.
yeah, like going back to the route thing, like that was one of the big things with a muck was like waking up and you're like, okay, what do I need to learn? I've been asleep for 8 hours. How much has the run changed?
Oh, did my game?
And Exodus was way worse for that because there were like constantly new tricks
And
that saved like a bit more and a bit here.
There was
And then, yeah.
an unbelievably big skip found on the last day also, which was cool and definitely fun to wake up to.
Yeah.
It was actually kind of
Are
tough
you
to do as
talking
well.
about the Mars skips?
Yep.
Yeah. Basically, the Mars skips were found very, very late into the competition for Exodus from the Earth, and that basically changed the game. So it was rough.
I have a follow-up question about that then, because I've heard there's the bylaw of like a major change extending the time, but is that not Why wasn't the time extended in the case of Exodus? If that was like such a major skip found.
So I believe I don't believe it was found on the very last
It might have been
day
second
or
last, yeah.
anything.
Gotcha.
Third, yeah.
Okay.
It was found pretty late though. I think there's also the fact that we have the community vote on whether or not we want to extend the competition as well. So, because for instance, if the new trick is really bad, for instance, or like something that probably isn't a good idea to have in the run,
Can I just say
it's
something about
probably a
that?
good idea. Yeah.
Exactly that thing happened in Exodus. I'm pretty sure the community instantly decided, yeah, no. Pretty much
Yeah.
right before the challenge ended, we found a way to get to a dev room where you could just select a level to go to, which would just literally be like the warp zone in a Mario game or something. And it would just
Yeah.
make the game incredibly boring. But yeah,
Yeah, I don't think there was a way found at least I don't know how to word it, but like as a speedrun wise thing.
Yeah,
But
in-game.
it was found that it does exist, but we just preemptively banned it in case.
Then it's
you
kind of
don't know
like
the relief.
how we banned the backwards sword walking, whatever the heck you want to call it, in this game, something like that. Then.
Backwards sword
Oh
walk?
yeah. So okay, for anybody not aware, there was maybe about a week ago. I mean, it feels like an eternity ago, but about a week ago, I believe, it was found that this bridge section, you could skip it. Somebody pulled out the sword and was able to speed the game up. Or I don't know. Well, I don't know the technical know-how behind it, but basically, they would mash F10, which would initiate the credits, and they would just like mash it over and over to enter and exit the credits. And it would do that thing that the game does where like when you enter certain loading zones, it speeds the game up for like a little tiny bit. It would just do that constantly. And so you could essentially, like how in Zelda you can just kind of like walk backwards to go faster. You could just backwards sword movement, whatever you want to call it, to just go through the bridge sections faster than you could if you actually went over the bridges. And then it was found that you could do the same thing everywhere, and that it's always permanently faster than any other movement option you have in this game. And so I'm pretty sure like it was just dead on arrival. Like everybody was just like, no, we're not letting this in the game. No, this would be terrible. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe the main reason we banned that was because it performs differently on different hardware with F10 lagging shenanigans. And it's also not fun to watch because you're literally just flickering a black screen on and off
yeah.
like constantly during the run. And I don't think that's watchable because generally there's a concept in speedrunning where like sometimes any percent is not the best idea because it can just be not the way you want to play the game, and a lot of runners don't want to play the game a certain way, and that's why we have like unrestricted categories or like side categories just for those kinds of runs, and those are ran, but generally you'll see fewer people play them because they want to play the game a little bit more closer to like what you would expect for a speed run.
I mean, this is all a hobby still, right? So if you're just not having fun, like not seeing your screen half the time with this F10 thing, it's just not worth.
Yeah. I actually want to ask you guys, as speaking of any percent being just like literally just beating the game, no restrictions, what's the game you think has been ruined the most by its any percent category?
So I don't have any experience with games, but I can speak for how broken Portal 2 any percent is.
Okay.
So in that game, to transition between levels, there are things called boxes out of bounds, which basically have, so when you finish the level, you get teleported in one of the boxes, which then teleports you to the next level. You can just kind of go out of bounds, go over to them, and just enter those boxes to just skip half the game. Like you can just you can just say, yeah, nah, don't want to do this part. And you also, after you hit that box, I'm pretty sure the boxes are all the same in different maps, like the same coordinates. So you'll load into the next level at the boxes. So you can skip like multiple levels in a row. I'm sure that there are other games that have
Yeah, there's a very similar mechanic in a lot of newer Lego games, actually, where there are out-of-bounds doors that will just take you to basically anywhere you want. You just need to find where the door is. So in Lego The Incredibles, for example, you beat the first level, and then you just go out of bounds and hit one of these doors, and it takes you straight into the last level. And the run is like 10 minutes. And there's quite a few Lego games that are like under 20 minutes just because the route involves you basically just hitting an out-of-bounds door to get to the final level and then beating the final level.
Thoughts on Oblivion, any percent, Kronos? Speaking of that?
So, yeah, for Oblivion any percent, we literally just skip to the end of the game from the very start. So there's a no out of bounds category and an any percent category. And for any percent, you can just clip through walls really easily by just abusing saving and loading in the game. And for some reason, right after you escape like the tutorial dungeon, you can literally just travel to the very end of the game, and by just traveling to the main hub of Oblivion. And for some reason, right behind one of the doors is the final room entry. So you can just literally open that door and it'll take you into the end of the game in like literally 30 seconds of exiting the start area.
I remember doing that on console using paintbrushes when I was like 10 years old. I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Look at this sync.
It
we
has
got on
evolved
Bobfoot and
from
Unity.
then.
You guys are dead even.
Huh?
And the two of you are like tied right now in both the life split timer and just the jumping.
Wait, are you also like plus 10?
Pretty much, yeah.
It's rough. I had, before the gate clip, my game just tabbed out. So I lost time to that. I don't really know why.
I've been struggling with the dialogue again. I don't know why.
I really wish we had a setup for the like super fast dialogue.
Yeah, I remember Mickey was getting that pretty often today, but
So annoying getting it on like a trash run.
Oh yeah, that was in his 218, right?
yeah.
That's a 218?
Yeah, he's a 218.
I had a 219. I thought it was unbelievable.
Ain't that just the way?
Don't dance. Okay. This is okay pace.
Eh. I guess I can compete with this.
Oh yeah, I want to give my controversial any percent opinion, which is that Ocarina of Time is one of the worst any percents I've ever seen.
Ooh, very interesting opinion.
Yeah, I hate it. I think SRM ruined any percent so hard.
I can annoy some more people and say I don't actually know what the speedrun is. Like, what's so busted about it? Never looked at any Zelda speedruns.
I don't know. Basically, I'm a purist who is still stuck in the past when, I don't know, like, I personally watched a ton of OOT back in like 2014, 2015. And so like that was when they had just started finding the wrong warp manips and things like that, and it was like super cool to see. That was like the era of like the 18-minute runs, but then like get item manipulation happened, and then it started getting like more and more like luck based, I guess. And now it's just like you just kind of put whatever you want into whatever item slot you want, and then the game just kind of plays itself. It's cringe.
Isn't that similar with Mario? You can just like edit the game's memory
Yeah, Super Mario
or
World.
something. Yeah, I've seen the tasks.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like possible humanly, but
Yeah, in Super Mario World, you can do it as a human. It's incredibly difficult, but you can do it.
That's crazy. Like, speaking from just a purely, like, human standpoint, my lord. the fact that you can do that to a game is just, like, rude.
So I agree with Zem. Like, I think technically it is impressive that you can do that kind of stuff. I don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
I kind of get that, yeah.
I do think it's cool in Super Mario World, but I also have like a pretty deep appreciation for the SMW community just because they're all like ISO like psychos. I don't understand how they all put themselves through that. Like all the ROM hacks they've all made and all the insane strats they all have to be able to just execute perfectly.
ISO's like the really hard maps, right?
Yes.
Okay. So there's some in the Half-Life, but I didn't know it was from Mario.
It's very watchable. Like even for people who don't have a lot of like a Mario background, like Kaizo stuff is extremely watchable because it's just very obvious how hard it all is.
Is there anything like I want to be the guy and stuff like that? Like really precise movement.
Yeah, it's a lot of precision-based stuff like that. It's slightly different than I want to be the guy, but it's the same general concept where it's just ridiculously unfair.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's one of the out of my way. Surrender now.
Both Unity and Bob Toad are in the palace, so see where their runs go. Pretty similar paces as well.
Hopefully not to heaven.
I jumped in place again. Oh well.
All right.
Probably practice that for a moment.
Okay, I guess this is the first time we can see someone do the end sequence. Hopefully.
You're kidding. Okay, this is RNG, and literally I have no control over it. I can't use this by itself, by the way. And that's key.
Yeah, so Unity wanted to buffer using the strength potion at the same time as opening the door, which skips the animation.
Cross with me. You won't escape.
Game has been so mean to me today, man.
I'll steal yours yet. It's one of the pirates.
And as you can see, Unity did the resurrection strat, so by dying and respawning back in, you're able to climb those very steep slopes, which you normally are not able to.
This not gonna work.
Come, let me save you to the bone.
Oh, yeah, that's a rough bump, isn't it?
I guess I can just load a save and show the end.
Yeah.
I did finish a run earlier.
I pressed you.
Yeah, I also finished a run earlier. You gotta get your facts in order here.
I don't have the stream open, okay?
I know.
But yeah, since you all are here, and I guess for people in the chat, since we're still looking for good MoistCr1tikal challenge games, I just want to hear some ideas of genres, not specific games, since we're not going to choose your specific game for the challenge. But if anyone's interested in like a certain genre of game, that would be a good idea.
No.
No.
I personally think we should have another Source ripoff game. Not biased at all. No bias, no bias.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
As somebody who doesn't have I've basically expressed my grievances with the format, and if it stays this way, I probably won't do it in the future. But so basically, as somebody who is as unbiased as one can be on the subject, I really do think that platformers tend to be a very good option for these sorts of things, just because there's a lot of room for skill expression. And I think especially with a game like this, there's probably going to want to be people who just have a lot more of a sense of freedom and control over what it is they're actually playing.
I agree. I think generally with this specific game, the skill ceiling is a lot lower than in... Maybe not a Muck, because that was also a lot of just prayer, but
Exodus.
yeah, I don't know. I don't want to just
I
say
would
Exodus
say
because obviously
this
I'm
game
biased
has-
towards Exodus.
Mhm.
But I do think there needs to be more room for skill expression, as Emi said.
And
Yeah,
it's impossible
Exodus
to
was
predict.
definitely a big hidden gem in terms of just
Absolutely.
skill expression with bee hopping and all of that. Unfortunately, I do think it was like very source runner bias.
Yes, 100%.
In a way. So, like, people that have experience with source games, for instance, were at a huge advantage in comparison to others. Although some runners did manage to get pretty solid times, not being source players as well. But still, it was a big thing. What else did I want to say? This game does have more skill expression than Amok Runner, I do want to say, because if you're familiar with that game, there's literally just walking straight lines for most of it, and the only like thing that you had was a big RNG trick that was literally just RNG whether or not you get launched, and that just made or broke your run. So those were like, that's basically all of Amok Runner. There was very little
driving
skill
too.
expression. Driving, but the driving
Pretty simple.
is basically like
relatively.
bridges in this game, except
Honestly, a little
easier.
better, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the most skill in a Muck Runner that you could express is with the chicken launch at the beginning, because that wasn't exactly RNG, and you had to use a very specific setup looking at the grass
Yeah.
to perform that.
And even then, it's like, yeah,
But that's really
it's
it.
Still, yep. Still very little. This game at least has all the clips, which I think the clips are really cool in this game.
My
I think
problem,
probably the best part.
yeah, 100%. I've said this to a few different runners and generally like come to the same consensus. This game's tech and the route are really, really cool. The way it controls ruin the whole thing though. Like the input delay and the way that the animations queue. Oh yeah, that's another thing. The input delay is also piled on top of this game wanting to queue every animation. So if you turn left, you have to finish like the current, if you turn left when you're running, you have to finish the current like step of going forward that you do so that you can start the running and turning left animation. So that just adds on top. But yeah, the tech is really cool and it feels good to pull off. But getting from A to B, like between tricks, is just miserable because of the input delay.
I think
Yeah.
I think there is a really good speed game under here somewhere.
so. Like in terms of like what I would want to see, I just want a game that doesn't feel terrible to play. That's what I want.
Yeah. I do plan on talking about potential format changes and stuff. We'll see what happens. I mean, it
Yeah.
is kind of hard to create a good format change that is solid for this kind of event and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Eh.
it is pretty
And
difficult.
I didn't mean to open Pandora's box with that discussion now. I mostly just wanted to set the reference that like,
Yeah.
I am pretty unbiased in the discussion.
Yeah, it is interesting to
Yeah.
bring up though, because like 14 uninterrupted days can be very, very brutal. And I mean, depending on like people's schedule, it's just like impossible to even compete for that long. Like I'm lucky in this case because I just got off my semester of college and I have like a 3-week window where I'm not doing anything. But for a lot of people, it's just they, can't take 2 weeks off from whatever they're doing, or
Definitely.
Yeah, I think that's also another factor is we can't really shorten it, because if you make it shorter, then there's not enough time for like cool tricks or tech and stuff to get found. There's not enough time for a record to, for instance, get like pretty solid and nice to see. And then if you extend it, then it just makes it even more strenuous for all of that.
Yeah.
It's kind of a lose-lose scenario, and I feel like that's probably why this hasn't been done before.
Yeah. But yeah, I do plan on talking about it tomorrow when the challenge ends and see what things went well and what things did not go well for the challenge, and just get everyone's thoughts on things as well. So hopefully people check that out.
At least from a viewer perspective, the brutalness of this challenge could be kind of fun.
Yeah. And I believe that's like the big point that MoistCr1tikal wants to have, is something that's fun and enjoyable to
suffering.
watch.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is one of the most like intense and difficult gaming challenges like ever.
Yeah.
Do you
Yes. I do know that platformers are a big thing for speedruns. Like, I wanted to get a platformer for this one, but this was like kind of a rush decision since we didn't really have too many choices for games. But there's a lot of issues with finding a good platformer for a challenge like this, because literally every single platformer that you can think of, even if it's like bad, has probably had a lot of runners for it.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
Just because of the nature of it being like a platformer, and those are very popular to speedrun.
So I actually
yeah.
like to kind of move the conversation back to just like more of this kind of stuff. I did want to ask, because I forget, am I the only non-PC runner here? Bob, you're SM64, right?
Yeah, and I started a year ago running Portal 1 actually though, so
Okay.
I guess I am.
So I mean, aside from Baldi's Basics in Education and Learning and Frog Fractions, I don't have any experience in the
Frog
PC
Fractions.
world. Yeah, I'll don't worry, Unity. I'll show you all about Frog Fractions later.
That sounds unbelievably good.
That's a word for it.
I'm dancing, man.
But yeah, so basically, as somebody who's divorced from this world, I hear you guys say that Exodus really massively favored source runners, but I don't understand what that means. Like, how so?
Yeah. So there's a mechanic in Source games called bunny hopping,
Oh,
which
okay.
Unity is super good at. Yeah. So bunny hopping is a mechanic where you have to do very precise inputs to move fast. And if you're good at bunny hopping, you had a lot more experience with it, and it just makes you go faster in general in the run. And just having faster movement speed overall just makes it easier to get a top time
Gotcha.
when you have that sort of mechanical skill already. And yeah, Exodus's like bunny hopping was extremely similar to all the other older source games of bunny hopping.
The top 3 runners were actually all source runners.
Yeah.
But that's also, I just forgot to press buttons. That's kind of why I'm here also. I want to kind of prove that I didn't just run Exodus because of source. I like to think I can learn a game that isn't my type of thing, like this. Oh, this is not something I would touch without an incentive at least.
Yeah. I do know there's a lot of runners that didn't do this challenge, like once they tried it out, since it didn't feel good for them. For instance, Spicy, and I believe he was also burnt out after getting like 4th place like 3 or 2 challenges in a row.
Spicy got like really unlucky.
Yeah.
So I
do want to see him win something one day. He's been working so hard for it.
He's destroying RE4 there.
that kind of makes me think of something else that I did want to ask you guys. Do you feel like the games that you guys have played have in any way prepared you for a game like this? And if so, how?
Nope.
I think this game's kind of up my wheelhouse just because it's not a mouse control game. Because Lego games are also not a mouse control game. I mean, I don't think the skills carry over a ton, but it definitely matches a little bit. Like, I knew from the first day playing this game that like I really wanted to put a lot of time into it because I felt like I had a good shot.
Yeah.
Like, I could just tell by the way it played.
I miss using my mouse, man.
It doesn't do anything by itself.
Oh, I got soft locked.
Oh.
You're good.
I've been used to games like this, so if I were to run it, which I probably will be pretty soon, like, yeah, I think I could probably get into it. It's just that, you know, like a bunch of the games that I've ran, for instance, as well, being Elder Scrolls, which is this kind of game, even though this game isn't like anywhere remotely the same.
It's definitely not traditional,
the main thing that I have going for me is just being used to DOS games in general. So, like, Arena and Daggerfall do have some similar qualities in a way, but not really too much.
I think for me, the only game I've ever played that's even remotely like this is there's a really, really bad Ratchet game called Ratchet & Clank Quest for Booty, where, I mean, it's not that similar, but there are similar aspects because a lot of the tricks are kind of stupid, but also like it's like pirate themed and also is like a similar length and just requires everything to kind of go perfectly for you as well. So that's like kind of the only real experience that I've had, but the games don't play similarly at all.
Yeah.
It's like the thematic stuff is about where it ends. But I do think it's actually like I really do appreciate the experience of trying this because it is so totally different than anything I've ever played. And even though I'm not like I'm like physically at the end of like I'm at my absolute limit of like doing this sort of thing, but I'm still having a lot of fun like learning and growing on a game like this, you know. I think it's super cool.
And yeah.
God. I swear. Okay, this guy has to pay. He's killed like 4 of my runs today. All right, put him up. Get your sword out.
No, he's unarmed.
I think that is one really cool aspect of this is like there's just so many people, like, yeah, we're all competing, but like just having such a big community to like workshop the game and try to push the overall possible time down is actually like it's such a really cool thing, because normally like in speedrunning, even if you're in an active community, you don't have like more than 10 people usually, you know, working on a game, whereas right now we have like how many is like 4,000. A lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
I just honestly still like it's really made me appreciate the speedrunning community a lot more in a way that I didn't appreciate it before. The idea that there is not an unsubstantial amount of money on the line in this, and everybody is still so determined to help each other out and like not go out of their way to just like hide stuff from people, you know what I mean? Like in any other competitive, I think the only other competitive field I've ever seen people help each other in is probably Super Smash Brothers Melee, where like all the top players just play each other all the time. But like I've never seen this in any other competitive field. I think it's super dope. And it's I think it's cool that even with the idea of money being in front of people's faces, that they're still holding true to like the value, the core value of speedrunning, that it's like everybody versus the game, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's super dope.
Yeah, I think that like that's actually really incredible. I think it's really, it just kind of shows you what speedrunning is all about, like where, yeah, like you said, like there's a decent amount of money on the line, but people aren't really playing for themselves. Like obviously at the end of the day, everybody wants to win, but it's still people coming together to make sure that at the end of the day, the community did the best the community could do instead of, you know, one person doing the best they could do.
Yeah, there's so many people who put in over 100 hours in each challenge just to look for glitches and barely putting in any time into runs just so that runners can go faster. It's really cool to see.
I would also like to get a shout out to the people behind the auto splitter, like Saberline Horizon, especially for this challenge, because this was like, especially for just setup and everything, it took around like 2-3 days of work just to get the auto splitter, the game to run, all of that. And even now, Sabuline has been updating the auto splitter constantly with all the new changes, with whatever bugs that the auto splitter has had, just a ton of stuff.
I've never seen anything like it, honestly. Like, especially because in the PlayStation community, like, I think especially you PC guys, like, you would be shocked at like it's like we're like cavemen over in the like we just got our first like practical like save state application that we could use last year. Or like maybe it was like 2 years ago, but it was basically just like 2 or 3 people just decided that had like a really good computer science background, just sat down and were like, okay, we got to actually do something about this. And then like we had to figure out, you know, all sorts of stuff on how to get it to all the runners. But like, I don't know, it's just crazy to think that we needed an auto splitter fix, and so it just got fixed. You know, there was no like, all right, don't worry, guys. It'll only take us a couple of weeks. They're just like, all right, here you go.
Yeah. Yeah, big shout outs to any auto splitter or people that make tools for speedrun, because they are super useful and very underappreciated sometimes.
No! Here we get to no!
Next instance, I just didn't run with splits until there's an auto splitter. So I think no idea where I was losing time or anything. I cannot stand splitting myself. I just forget all the time.
I think I intentionally didn't start running Nexus until the split was live, or the auto splitter was up.
I've definitely had that sentiment with like newer games.
What are all your speed plans after this is over?
I think I'm gonna return to Portal to try to get sub 12 and inbounds. No save load
Come to
abuse.
Portal 2, man. It's so much better. Come to Portal 2.
It's
You're already playing inbounds.
I guess so, yeah. I kind of want to go back to Mario after, though. I don't know.
The siren song of SM64 never truly goes away.
I'm really lucky.
Oh, go ahead, Yuri.
I'm really lucky that SM64 has like, if it was just a game I could install on Steam and just play, I would probably have like 1 billion hours in it by now. I looked into it one night at like 4 a.m., which is also how I started speedrunning Portal, just putting off going to bed. And I was so like looking forward to getting into it, and I definitely would not have slept that night if it was like super easy. It's a game I definitely get sucked into, I feel like.
I remember I talked to, I don't know, Bob, if you know who Flippio is, but
yeah, I've heard of them.
I don't know if he does much SM64 these days, but I know he used to run a ton of 120 star. And like over at an event that we were doing, like I remember we were just like sitting and talking together, and then like I heard like somebody pick up a red coin in I don't know, I think they were practicing like TTC or something like that. I just heard like the red coin pickup sound. And I just turned over and I go like, do you get like PTSD flashbacks whenever you hear like all those sound effects just coming out of Mario 64? And he told me that like, no, it honestly just activates him like he's the Manchurian candidate. He just feels like he's supposed to just like return to the game and just start playing immediately.
Yeah, the sound effects are just the voice telling him to pick up a controller.
Yeah.
I always think it's funny when you hear noises from a game you play. Like Half-Life samples a lot of stuff. Well, not samples, but like has a lot of the, I guess you could say like stock sounds of like glass breaking. I'll hear it in a movie and I'll be like, oh my god, Half-Life. I cannot control myself. I have to point it out.
The door opening sound effects.
Yeah.
We recently found a Ratchet and Clank like ship sound effect in a Snoop Dogg song.
Oh, there was a Portal like item fizzling sound sampled in some. I'll have to find the song, but it was like the sound that plays when you put an item through a fizzler at the end of a level, in like a rap song or something. It's so weird. It's like, what is that doing there? Wow, it's got the slowest Augusta dialogue. It's always weird when you see any sort of media that you're used to, somewhere you're completely just not used to.
Yep.
Hopefully I won't lose the strength potion boss fight. Okay, man.
Gravestone was too large.
It doesn't do anything by itself.
Yeah, for myself after the challenge, I'm still practicing for GDQ. That's what I do.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you gotta do like that whole thing, don't you?
You need to find something to use
Yep.
it with.
I think I'll be running the most games at a single GDQ.
Are you doing like the anthology or something?
Yeah, I'm doing Anthology, which is 5 games, and then Redguard as a bonus incentive potentially. So, yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck with that, man. I don't envy that.
I had to practice one game, and that's already difficult.
Yeah.
What do you run?
A time shift.
Right.
I run other things, but that's the one in the event. I mostly do Grinch and Command and Conquer Renegade.
Command and Conquer. Interesting.
Yeah,
I think it's always nice.
Go ahead.
I just say, I think it's always nice to run like a known game like Portal. What I just do, man. Okay, sorry. I just saved a run by jumping on like the rope on the edge of the bridge when I clearly jumped off the edge. That was insane.
That was really
That was
impressive.
sick.
Anyway. Oh my god, I did it again. Oh, well, this run's terrible. Okay. Anyway. Nice to run a game that kind of everyone knows. Like Portal 2, the majority of PC players, or even Xbox players, or like console players, I guess, have heard of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So you can just kind of talk about it.
I feel like most people have played at least Portal 1, you know?
Yeah, definitely. It's just
such
like
a
an iconic game.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say that I've only played Portal 2, but when I played it, I got like halfway through the game and then I got motion sickness so bad.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I can't play Portal. It really gives.
Oh yeah, I forgot that I actually learned Portal.
Magnificent.
But it was like
How many games do you run?
I mean really it's just Ratchet games, I swear. But like
Okay.
this was like it was actually for one of these hotfixes.
Yeah, it was first step, right?
It was first step, yeah, because J Hobbs and Keys were out of town, and so they asked me and Ruby Heart to learn Portal, I guess, and we learned
What's
it
that?
in I don't know. I think we had to we only got to play it casually once, and then we had to just kind of like make up our own strats, and then we did a best of 3, and it was I don't know. I still actually haven't gone back and looked at what it actually looks like because I'm kind of terrified if I'm honest. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
It was funny. It was funny seeing Spicy try and do like strafing movement in like D-Hop and Exodus because he is like a crazy good speedrunner. Obviously, he's not. That's not his like town type of thing. Like he's not used to it, but it's mine. So seeing such a good player struggle so hard on like something I find really simple, I don't know, it kind of puts into perspective how like rough it is. He's like a god at everything else he plays.
What does Spicy normally run?
Well, everything. He runs.
Resident Evil.
He runs a lot of games. He runs Resident Evil 4 right now, but kind of just anything that's new.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
He's a very good
always
gamer.
been getting insane times for like every single game he plays too.
I saw someone in the chat mention my rhythm gaming prowess. That's actually I almost wanted you to say this, or to put this in the bio, Kronos, that before I was ever a speedrunner, I was a top level rock band player.
Ooh.
I actually learned how to play drums from playing Rock Band so much.
That's actually
That's
sick.
actually really sick. Yeah.
I could
I myself really enjoy rhythm games as well, so yeah.
Oh, and a fun little claim to fame. I'm the first person to one-man band, full game, full combo Lego Rock Band.
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, so that's like every song in the game on every instrument on expert, but not at the same time, obviously. But
Okay,
like,
there we go. All right.
yeah,
He did extra limbs.
That cleared that up for me because I was like, holy what? How do you manage that all at once? Makes sense now.
Got full ensemble in his house.
yeah, that'd be awesome. How Unity? I'm actually curious. What got you into bee hopping in the first place?
Gmod to Death Run. You won't know what that is, but I'm sure half a chat does.
I know Gmod, but that's all I know.
So it's just like an obstacle course type thing where someone's trying to kill you and you have to just avoid stuff. But we were all like, everyone that played that back then were like children. And I saw like the good people were just having the easiest time of their lives because you just bee hop and get crazy speed and skip everything. I thought it was cool as heck.
Gotcha.
So I learned to do that. I thought it was crazy cool clowning on all the children in Gmod.
I just had to let out a groan because I got sent to the lag shadow realm.
Pretty sure no one's having a good time right now on their runs.
Yeah, I'm gonna be
Doesn't
honest.
seem like-
I feel a little bad about this. I've been kind of playing a little bit on autopilot just because I'm like really tired. So I'm not
Yeah.
putting up my best performance.
I mean, it's understandable. It's like really late night for a lot of people here, I believe. And
Which
yeah,
I do want to stress. Thank you all so much for agreeing to this.
Thanks for the offer.
I know this is not the best time for everybody, but
yeah, we appreciate it
it is
regardless.
currently 2 a.m. and I have work in the morning. So
I am so sorry.
8
it's all
a.m. man.
good. I get a long break this weekend, so I am happy with that. Probably like my first break in a while, so
A well-deserved one at that.
yes.
Oh yeah, I actually I asked the question. I forgot to give my own answer. After this, I'm probably gonna try TOTK.
The run?
What's that? Yeah, it's
You
a
just try
run.
and run it?
Yeah. Wanna?
Interesting.
Yeah, I want to give it a
It'll be
shot. You know.
2,000 hours long.
Magnificent.
Yeah.
How long's the previous Zelda game?
The speed run?
Yeah.
I think it's like 20 minutes or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I find open world games generally have short speedruns, which is also one of the reasons why I chose Redguard, was because I was like, this game is 2 hours long. There's potential for this game to be like super short. So I was thinking maybe there's like a bunch of cool tricks and skips, and yeah, there was, because all the other Elder Scrolls games had similar things, so why not?
Elder Scrolls games do have a special place in my heart. My childhood, I was raised on like Oblivion.
Me too, yeah.
Actually, it's very weird because I've only played Skyrim.
No.
Oh, what?
Casually.
Oh,
Like,
right.
I played Skyrim casually for, like, the longest time. I believe I, like, speedran Skyrim without realizing that it was speedrunning and probably held the world record at some point. Because,
How does that happen, man?
like, I didn't know what speedrun.com was at the time, but I believe I watched Wymorn's run of Skyrim way back then. And that run was like an hour and a half on console or something, and I was like, I want to do that, and I tried it and just like learned the route from just watching that speedrun, and I didn't realize that there was a speedrun.com website for forever until like years later when I rediscovered it.
It's cool how easy it is to get into speedrunning as well. Like you were just kind of chilling, then it happened. And with Portal 2 as well, there's an IL mode, which tells you like your friends' times and stuff. And it insults you when you get worse than your friends' times. It gives you a little incentive. But yeah, that's how a lot of people that run Portal 2 got into it. Just casually, and then they found, whoa, there's some really cool stuff you can do in this game.
Wasn't paying attention, but Wii Super is on a +7 second run right now. Oh, rip.
You got this, Justin. Unless I just missed
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, the double jump. That double jump is deceptively hard. Like, generally, in this game in particular, there is a mechanic for double jumping by pressing walk at the correct time, and when you jump after holding walk, it like jumps you in mid-air. And by doing that and basically positioning yourself in the correct spot, you're able to double jump up to
Oh my-
ledges and grab them.
He is being mean.
I can't.
Oh my lord.
What do I don't.
You
Am I
slid
hitting
through
him?
your legs like 3 times.
I'm hitting. This is the weirdest camera I've ever done that fight at, but okay, sub 12. Not a PB,
Solid
but
run.
How remarkable. I may
That was
well
like
be
the most trouble I've ever seen him give anyone.
oh, this is normal for me. I have some
Rules of engagement state
final boss issues.
the losing party may yield
Yeah, then your PB is alright.
field of battle, and that the victor may, within honorable reason, determine his ransom.
Remind me in hell.
But
Yeah,
where's
GG's
the money in
regardless,
that?
man.
For Redguard honor.
What times have people gotten during this event so far?
I believe that might be the fastest time tonight. Is that 11:50 you just got?
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's been like a couple like high 11s, like 11:58 or something.
I got an 11:51, so you just got me.
Oh yeah. But yeah, there's been a few completed runs, but nothing close to record
Alright.
yet.
Let's get something big now. Final stretch.
I don't know how you want to do this, by the way, for production, in terms of whether we want to end at the exact mark of 2 hours 30 minutes, or just let everyone finish their runs once we reach that point. I think that's probably the better option.
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever, we're not just gonna hard cut. So whatever runs people are on is what we'll, cut. So I'll just remind everybody that, like, hey, if don't start another run, basically.
Yeah, we have just under 30 minutes left. Also, Unity, did I just see a gold split?
Yes.
And then you
I
reset?
Yeah, I saw-
completely threw. I just ran into a wall.
I just saw that whole thing.
That a new gold for the spreadsheet?
I'm not sure. It's by 0.01, so it's nothing like meaningful. But
It's nice to see at least a gold.
yeah, a little serotonin.
It's like that feeling when you just start learning a run and then you just see a bunch
Oh,
of
it's
golds.
so good.
It's the best feeling ever. And then once you actually get good at the game, like you never see those gold splits.
But when
again.
you do,
But when you do, it's like,
yeah.
oh my god.
It always feels good. I have a personal fondness for my gold splits just because I have the nuclear fart sound that goes off every time I get one. Because I'm truly, I never evolved past the age of 12. So it's still
I
very
respect
fun
it.
for me.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that have fun sounds and cool things for their life splits. I'm just super plain boring with my.
I wanted to rip the "I am quick" dialogue from this and put that as my gold noise, but my friend beat me to it.
Yeah, we are nearing the last 30 minutes of the challenge, so hopefully we can get a run.
Good day.
Well, our showcase, there's still there's still a little bit for the challenge.
Yeah.
One of my favorite interactions is when Cyrus just refuses to look at the elf. And he just keeps like turning over and over.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much has been said, but like tomorrow is like the very last day. So imagine all of us are going to be basically just going all day tomorrow, all the way up until the deadline. And I think it's going to be a crazy day. I mean, there's literally 10 people who could get a spot in the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
So
it is super close at the top. I guess I can take a look at the run.gg, which holds all the live split tournament PBs. Basically 10 people, or I guess currently the world record's the 11:20 by Zem, slightly off on the leaderboards here, but yeah, within 10 seconds basically there's 4 people, and then within like 15 seconds there's another 5 people. So yeah, it is very, very close. Like anyone can take it. I believe there's like 30 people with times under 12 minutes or so, which are pretty solid runs.
A lot of the top times also have a lot of time loss right at the end.
Yep.
Which means basically anyone can just get like one run that works, and it's just a very good time.
Yep. It's really, really going to be intense. And I believe generally for the end of the challenges as well, MoistCr1tikal does tune into a bunch of streams live, and lots of people will be watching like the runs at the end. So hopefully you guys are ready for that attention.
Yeah, whatever.
Because there will be a lot of people just there will be a lot of people just randomly going into your chat and spamming stuff about it. So just be prepared. And yeah, just in case for people that, or for you guys, MoistCr1tikal has been tuning into people's streams like quietly. So he's been watching all of you guys get PVs and stuff. After all, this is his content that he really enjoys and why he's been doing it as a passion sort of thing. Because if you didn't know, I believe MoistCr1tikal has done speedruns in the past of just random wacky games that literally no one has heard of.
Yep.
So yeah, that's why he really enjoys this kind of thing.
And it's kind of cool to know. I will say that he actually has been like just kind of watching people in the shadows, because you know, I didn't know if he was or not. I didn't exactly know how invested he really was, because again, this is my first time doing it. But it's cool to know that he's at least like checking us out and, you know, trying to support this as he can. I mean, obviously, he's a busy guy, so.
I will say, for the longevity of this event, it might be a good idea to have something more than just the intro and the outro on the channel. Obviously, I don't control any of that, but a game like this, where it kind of doesn't have maybe the excitement of a Macrona, it feels like the viewership has definitely been lower.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be taken into account. For instance, for me, my updates, I did updates the past 2 challenges like every single day on where runners were at and what new tricks were found. But unfortunately, I haven't had the time to do that myself. It took like a lot of time just to build up all of those. Like
when there's so much stuff going on,
also
makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I also used to give daily updates to MoistCr1tikal as well, but nowadays I've been just informing him of just random updates at random times when I had the time, so not too many things. But yeah, what did I want to say? Yeah, he has like talked about other runners, like I believe he was talking about how he thinks Zem will end up winning.
Ooh.
So that is something.
Thanks, Charlie. You're my hero.
But yeah, he has talked to me about the challenge and stuff, so yeah, he is informed in everything that's going on. And he was also really hype about the big skip that got found and was really excited about it.
So, we got about 20 minutes left, and I know it is very late for all of you. I'm okay letting y'all go the last 20 minutes, but if y'all are feeling, like, just absolutely tired, like, we can, you know, call it after whatever run's going on right now.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I might take you up on tapping out just because I really do want to get some rest for tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. If y'all want to back out early, I totally get it. It is going to be a long day tomorrow with it being the last day. So if anybody wants to tap out early, we all understand.
All right.
Sleep is just as important.
Yeah, I have too regular of a circadian rhythm for you freaking, you know, young 20-somethings. Like, I need my regular bed rest. But yeah, I thank you so much for the opportunity, Church. Really, really cool to be here. And for the 3 of you guys who are still, if you're going to keep going, best of luck with the remainder of your runs. And I'm just really excited that we get to all share this crazy experience tomorrow. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Yep. Good luck as well then tomorrow as well.
All right. Peace out, gamers.
See you, man.
Good luck, Zen. Take care. Thanks for being on.
Yeah, I'll keep on as long as we still have people here. So, yeah. And yeah, it does look like both Bob Toad and We Super are on runs. Pretty solid runs too, so maybe we'll see something here.
Well, that is my fastest entrance into the palace ever. So, I mean, if nothing else happened tonight, that's a pretty significant accomplishment.
Good luck, man.
Yeah. Good luck.
And this is where run's going to die, but we'll see what happens.
This man, she's. Surrender! I have this, rebel.
Yeah.
Lucky. Still alive. No longer still alive.
Well, okay. Sometimes you tap back there and your character just walks off the edge.
Yeah.
Oh well. So even
Lucky,
get
man.
beat the run I did earlier. Try to do that.
Oh, the
All right.
ending sequence is so rough. Yeah, hopefully everyone in chat is also doing well. It's pretty late at night for all of you guys as well, or early morning if you could call it that. 2 a.m. for me, for instance, but I know some of you East Coast people, or there's some of you maybe in the West Coast where it's just midnight right now. Hopefully you all are doing well.
Surrender now.
It's magnificent. Fun voice line in this game.
Come, Redguard. Let me shake.
Okay, I actually don't know why that missed, but oh well.
How do you do that jump in particular? Because I was trying it out, but I couldn't get anything.
It's just a sword glide, but your positioning kind of matters. You don't want to bonk your head, but at the same time, you also don't want to be too far away.
Okay.
I thought that attempt was pretty normal, but
Yeah.
oh well.
I guess when I was trying it myself, then in the past, I was just not at the correct position.
It's weirdly precise.
Makes sense.
Because of that, I'm just barely missing out on the run from earlier. But 908 Palace is a pretty good accomplishment, especially because I lost 4 seconds on the ferry return.
Did you dance?
Yeah.
No surrender. You just die on your feet.
No, I actually don't know. Well, I got a slow potion grab and just
Right.
was sloppy.
Looks like there's a few people here from Europe, so it's they're having a
Yeah,
chill
it's wake up time for Europe.
And then there's someone from New Zealand, so it's night for them. Pretty cool.
But yeah, that, I
Meanwhile,
mean,
for the rest of us, it's early morning.
yeah, I mean, with the current stance, that 908 time entering the palace is like more than world recordable.
Oh yeah. 100%.
There's kind of a consistent pattern among the runners of this game where you will get a really good palace entry, and then getting through the final 2 splits is just so difficult. It's probably the hardest part of the run to play fluently and like perfectly. So good luck. That's kind of the pattern. You get a really good entrance to the palace, and then it just 1 in 10 runs will make it to the end game.
Yeah, and just to put it into perspective, the world record gets 907, like a high 907 for entering the palace. So that was definitely world record pace material. And yeah.
I believe the best is a 903, or did you get a 901 Unity?
902.
902.
And then I fell through the floor.
Yeah, and that one I had there, the 908, like I said, I did lose 4 seconds on the ferry return, the back half of this ferry island here. So it could have been a 904.
Good.
Why that lost 2 seconds?
Yeah, these runs are super tight in general, just at the top level.
I find it's really hard. I don't know about you guys, but I find it really difficult to see time save in this game.
It's tough. So, yeah, because when you jump, when your character lands, there's like different ways he can land, like depending on what collision you're on and whatnot. And if he doesn't land smoothly, it can like the time loss can really add up, especially on the bridges.
Yes,
I think
that's true.
And it's so subtle, and like there's some spots that's pretty easy to get a good landing, but other spots where it's just like you randomly will get a good landing, but most of the time you won't, and it's really, really tough.
I will say the one thing that feels really good in this game, when you get a lot of those hops that don't lose, like all your momentum at the end, the camera gets really far away from your character. And it feels like you're absolutely zooming.
You are.
Yeah. That's my favorite part about this. What is... Okay, I'm paying backwards. It's gonna be +8 because of that. Feel him trying to chase me. +9. If I play perfectly, this can still world record, but I doubt I will.
It's like a 706 or 705.
706.
706.
I'm pretty sure my best possible time is like 11:18, 19, something. Surely I will play perfectly from now on. Kind of crazy that this can still world record.
Yeah, just play perfectly. You got it.
Really.
Yeah, just looking at some of the runs and runs posting, there's a lot of runners that have gotten like insane starts
There goes the perfect.
and just choke the ending. So anything can happen tomorrow. And I guarantee you lots of people will be grinding until the very end. But yeah, we're approaching the last 10 minutes right now, so hopefully you guys can get one more good attempt in at least.
How you doing, Bob?
Okay. I don't know. I killed too many runs to the same thing, but you know.
Right, I see.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Optoad has probably the most successful runs this night in terms of just getting runs to the end sequence, but just unable to finish them. It's really rough sometimes. The game doesn't cooperate, and yeah.
Yeah, as Weezy was saying, like, it's very difficult to finish out a run, especially when you're on pace and you got the nerves.
And I think this really highlights the whole thing that like there's so many different people who could get top 3 tomorrow because for one, the top runners may not be able to finish a run, and then the people maybe a little bit lower down because you get really lucky and just pull out some crazy end game and just save a ton of time.
Yeah, it's like for AMOC runner, Ouija, for instance, came out and just got world record in the last few hours of the challenge. So it's pretty insane sometimes what can happen.
Redguard. Come
So
on.
it's not over until it's over. Is basically how it goes.
Get in, man. Get in, man. Get in, man. Okay.
Oh, yep.
Oh.
Couldn't click.
Well,
that is soft lock.
yeah, I got the soft lock on the boat. My dude will swim here forever. You will never be free ever again.
Things happen.
Kind of silly.
No! You little bastard. A fair hit, but
Not sure how we'll do this. 5 minutes about left, I want to say. 6 minutes.
All right.
Okay.
So probably get one more last good attempt in here.
no! No! You little
Yeah, probably my next run to bridges will be my final one.
Hopefully we'll see. Maybe
Something.
this is the world record.
A
Who
miracle.
knows? I mean, that's also a thing for the MoistCr1tikal challenge is even though the deadline is at midnight EST, any runs still going on will be allowed to finish. So it makes your very last run that much more intense as well. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're all getting really tired here. All the
Yeah.
I think
How
I
things
think I
go?
woke up at about 7 a.m. today.
yeah.
So-
It's
Same
what,
for
3
me.
a.m.?
Yeah, I woke up at 5. Yeah.
Oh, that's rough.
It's been a nice 20-hour day.
Yeah.
On the grind.
Yeah. Very long days for all
But-
of us here.
I mean, right after this, I don't. What's your plan, Unity? I
I'm
don't know
gonna
what
keep
your-
gaming, bro. Like probably another hour at least.
Are you going to sleep after? Or are you like
We'll see, man. We'll cross that bridge when we get
Doing-
there.
doing a 20-hour?
No, I don't, if I do like a 20-hour stream, I'll probably be asleep for once it ends.
Yeah.
Do I want to probably sleep in a few hours, I guess?
I would probably like take a break,
Yeah.
sleep, and then do another like set of runs until the challenge ends afterwards. That's probably
Not sure
a
what you
good
mean by a
idea.
break, man. It's scary, man. This could be my last run to bridges for all I know. Wouldn't put it past this game. Or it could be my last run to bridges because I'm going to record and then install the game. Oh my god.
Scary jump. Oh,
Oh,
and
lack
looks like
thereof.
MoistCr1tikal just raided with 4,000 people
Oh man.
right
Oh,
now.
now we gotta do. Now I gotta get record.
Yeah, so
One
hello
of us.
everyone who was watching. We are approaching the very end of this, the stream today. Last few minutes, we have all our runners here doing runs. Zem dropped out as it is getting very late at night for all of our people here. So hopefully you enjoy watching our last 3 contestants here for the MoistCr1tikal challenge. For those of you also watching, be sure to tune in tomorrow to everyone's streams that are live here and just running the game in general, as it is the last day of the MoistCr1tikal challenge. And it's going to be very intense, and maybe we'll see a world record sometime, even here today, right here live on stream, potentially. But yeah, See what happens.
Oh no.
Nice jump,
I'm
Justin.
falling. Oh,
Save that.
It's safe.
What?
a little slow, but you know, we're still alive.
But yeah, this game is basically make or break it at the very end sequence, and all of this stuff beforehand is also very, very rough to deal with.
That lost
honest-
a lot of time.
Most of this run is survive bridges and then survive the end.
Yeah.
It's just survive. Just gotta run. It's the hardest part.
I guess it survived those two parts and hope none of the other dialogue or
Yeah, pretty much.
action sequences screw you over.
Okay, I really suck at this jump to the snail man, so hopefully I can make it and keep this run. Now we pray for fast dialogue.
Yeah, I believe this will be everyone's last runs here. Everyone is no longer at Pirates as well. So we have runs from all three people here. Might not be the best of the best, but they're still all potential world records right now. So
I did almost say
let's see
no
what happens.
to the gas start, which lost like 3 seconds.
No.
The dumbest way to lose time in this game. I think that's just the tiredness kicking in.
Yeah,
Rearing its
I
head.
believe all of us are just fatigued from,
Yeah.
yeah.
Even just outside of today, this game is, I see it in my dreams. On nightmares, I guess. If this guy gets in my way for a move.
Unfortunate for Bob Toad failing to jump to the amulet. It's a rough jump.
It's really hard.
Yeah, the input delay makes it pretty hard to guess when to jump sometimes from the slope that you're going down on.
Especially because it's actually way laggier here than anywhere else in the game.
Oh yeah, the lag. It's worth noting as well.
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
we super. Yeah, what happens? It is a tough jump.
It doesn't help that the lag changes the input timings for like getting consistent jumps completely. Like a different game. Alright, I'll just play perfectly again. As I did last time, right?
Mhm. I guess then we have just Unity's run basically left here in terms of being on pace or having potential. So hopefully you guys all are ready to see what happens. It is a pretty tough sequence for the end. Includes these bridges which are very rough to jump through. And then hopefully just getting good luck at the palace section.
Oh man.
Oh, rip. Yeah. And I think that is GG. That is unfortunate.
Good try.
Yeah.
Good effort.
Yep, good effort by everyone tonight. It is a very tough game to speedrun because of all the latency that the game has. The game has a lot of nuance to it. Very tough game to run just and get consistent at. And yeah, that is what happens when you're trying to go for world record. You need to go to the absolute limit for all your runs and stuff. And yeah, unfortunately no records today. Lots of potential runs, but we're cut short to Palace.
I got a couple
yeah.
sub 12s.
Yeah, lots of sub 12s, which is a lot of top 20 times, I believe, top 30, which is pretty solid for a marathon style-ish run setting. Just like a set of 2.5 hours of attempts.
No shock.
And yeah, make sure to check out all of the runners here today. And for the challenge, you can just look it up on Twitch as well. There's lots of people running the game, just trying to squeeze out the last amount of time that they can get to get potentially top 3 and hopefully win part of the prize pool of $10,000, which is absolutely insane. And big shout outs to MoistCr1tikal once again for making this event possible. Yeah. Once again, shout outs to all of the runners and commentators here today. Make sure to follow them. And yeah, I think that's basically it. Unless you have anything else we want to say, talk about.
I just want to say thanks for the offer for being on here. That's about it, really.
Thank you so much.
How much fun it?
Yeah, it was awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all so much for being on and showcasing the game. You know, I know this is a very difficult game and it's, you know, it's a struggle, but I think y'all did a great job of showing off just how difficult the challenge is, just how difficult the run is. And I think y'all did a good job, so definitely good luck to all of you. I think you all have an incredible shot, and, you know, yeah, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And just to kind of follow up on Kronos, yeah, again, a big shout out to Charlie, to MoistCr1tikal for making this possible. We kind of talked about it earlier, but it's really awesome to be able to have, like, the overall speedrunning community come together to work on this. Like, I think that is an incredible thing for the community, so huge shout out for that. And honestly, as much as Amok Runner and Exodus were, like, very just... Well, Amok was more of a, you know, just unpleasant game. It was still just such a fun experience, so it's awesome to be able to, you know, participate in these.
Something you cannot find anywhere else, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. With all that said, though, it is very late for all of us, and I do want to let everybody get some rest before the big final day. So, again, thank you all so much. Really appreciate you all being on. That is all of the show we have for tonight. We are coming back tomorrow. We have Passion Project at 7 p.m. That's going to be some Mega Man Battle Network games. So we will see you all there. Have a great night, everybody.